Hello, my name is Dr. Ridwan Fontaine. I teach Islamic management at the International Islamic University, Malaysia, and today we will continue our discussion on the fifth part of Surah Baqarah. This is quite a long section and there's a lot of laws involved, so we have to think a little bit about what's the guidance behind Islamic law. So one way of thinking about it is Islamic law was revealed to avoid any difficult situation. Okay, so for example, in the Quran, there's not that much guidance when it comes to how do you have a happy marriage, right? Because actually people can figure this out by themselves. The guidance when it comes to marriage is how do you deal with very difficult situations, such as how do you deal with divorce, how do you deal with inheritance, how do you deal with those situations which are very awkward, right? So generally, guidance in the Quran is how do you deal with awkward situations. So after the previous section, which I talked about in the previous videos, the discussion continues. So there's a discussion on the laws of Qisas, which is retaliation. And the idea behind the laws of Qisas is to create peace in the society. There's a recognition that fighting will mean that people will die. So you have to start thinking about inheritance. There's a section on Ramadan, because that's going to strengthen your faith. When your faith is strong, after Ramadan, you can do business without corrupting the earth, which is interesting. Then there's instructions to do the Hajj. But in order to do the Hajj, you will need to fight and liberate the Kaaba. You have to deal with hypocrites, which obviously is a very awkward situation. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the opposite case, people who will sell themselves for the sake of Islam. Then there's instructions to enter Islam completely. And that means you should not be following the footsteps of shaitan by picking and choosing what you like of Islam. Okay, now people will make fun of you for following Islam properly. People will fight amongst one another. This will create confusion for you. Now Allah diagnoses the problem. It's all internal problems for the Muslims. But if you are sincere, Allah will guide you. The discussion continues. How do believers react to these challenges? Basically, they spend for the sake of Allah. Fighting has been prescribed, but war is never glorified in the Quran. Allah says He does not like it. It's simply a necessary evil. Allah's mercy is on the believers who are struggling despite all these challenges. As long as they are progressing, they are good. Then there's another series of legal rulings which I'm not going to go through. But Nouman Ali Khan, when he was talking about this, says something very interesting. Surah Baqarah is not really teaching us about laws. Surah Baqarah is teaching us to think critically, right? Nabi Ibrahim is basically the model of a critical thinker. Bani Israel did not think critically. They took the laws that was convenient to them and they ignored the laws that were not convenient to them, right? If Muslims study the Quran, they actually become critical thinkers. Okay. The discussion continues, taking care of orphans. There's guidance regarding divorce. And this is a very big issue because there's quite a big difference between how the Quran talks about divorce and the cultural practices amongst many Muslims. There's guidance regarding marrying non-Muslim women. And the final kind of ayat in this section is do not make jokes about the ayat of Allah. Okay. So there's a lot of things going on here. What do we understand from this? When I listen to this section, the most obvious thing is you cannot avoid the law, right? But you have to understand the law is there to make your life easier by helping you to deal with those really awkward situations. The laws is not there to make your life more difficult, okay? Now, this may seem very weird thing to say if you're very, very young. But as you become older, you start getting, you get married, you have a family, there are difficult relationships in the family, maybe, someone dies and then the inheritance becomes an issue, this, that, whatever. As you get older, you appreciate to what extent the laws, if it's properly understood, allows families to live together in harmony and avoid really difficult situations, okay? The only condition is you must take the law holistically. You cannot pick and choose what you like from Islamic law. And that's something we're going to talk about in the next video. Thank you very much.